Andy Warhol created his hammer and sickle series in 1976 after a trip to Italy. While there, the most common graffiti he saw was the communist symbol found on Soviet flags, which signified the union of industrial and farm workers' interests. In Italy, a democratic country since the end of World War II, Warhol viewed the repeated graffiti as more pop than political. After returning to the United States, Warhol asked his studio assistant Ronnie Cutrone to find pictures of the symbol. The reproductions he found were like the Soviet flag, flat in appearance. For a different approach, Cutrone purchased a double-headed hammer and a sickle at a local hardware store and photographed the tools in various positions. The resulting photos served as source material for the hammer and sickle series.
The hammer and sickle. When people see this symbol, they mostly think of things like communism, socialism, and the USSR. And it's true that lots of communist organizations down the years have used this symbol in their logos. But in this video, I want to ask why the hammer and sickle? What's the history and the meaning behind this symbol? Well, it goes back to this design, which was designed after a competition was held in the USSR in 1917 following the Russian Revolution that led to a communist government being installed, and they needed a symbol to represent their new communist country. And so Lenin held a competition, and this design was the winner, and this was then implemented onto lots of different designs and ultimately also the flag. Now, this can obviously be divided into two parts, which is the hammer and the sickle, and both have certain significances to them. For example, the hammer that's being used is a representation of industrial workers, while the sickle that's being used is a representation of agricultural workers. Now, this also then correlates to the industrial workers living in the city and the agricultural workers living out in the countryside.
Andy Warhol, born August 6, 1928, Pennsylvania, died February 22, 1987, New York, American artist and filmmaker, an initiator and leading exponent of the pop art movement of the 1960s, whose mass-produced art apotheosized the supposed banality of the commercial culture of the United States.